Evening, Wareham, and welcome to the Select Board meeting of September 3rd, 2024. May I have a roll call, please?
Yes, present tonight is Ms. Corbett, Mr. Bessie, Ms. Whiteside, myself, Chair Chadwick, and Mr. Bowen. And I believe we have Mr. Sullivan on, yes, we do, the screen up there.
And Sherry Quirk, if you are attending remotely, please raise your hand. Let her in. Okay, so yes, okay, thank you. And I declare that there is a quorum present. And Ms. Corbett, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, republic for which it stands, one
nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Residents' comments. Somebody has terrible feedback. Can you please mute yourself? Thank you. Residents' comments. Comments on non-agenda items shall be limited to 2 minutes, and there will be no more than 10 minutes per meeting. Based on past practice, the Select Board will not respond or comment to any comments made by the public. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to address this board? Please raise your hand.
I see nothing at this time.
See nothing at this time? All right, thank you very much. We'll go to announcements. Ms. Corbett.
I have no announcements.
Wow. Okay. Mr. Bessie?
No announcements tonight.
Goodness. Mr. Chadwick?
I have one.
Okay.
So, Mr. DeAndrea, the superintendent of Wareham Public Schools, Scott Palladino, the principal of the high school, and I, along with Brad Allen, the director of Wareham EMS, have come together, and we are in the process of bringing an EMT program to the high school for seniors for 2025. It will be a year-long program. When the 15 students finish, they will be able to come out of high school, take the test for their EMT, and be able to go straight in the field. And that's my announcement. I'll have more information once we finalize everything, but I'm extremely excited about it, and I wish I had that when I was a kid. That's it.
Thank you. I have a couple. Don't Trash Wareham has come back to the community. There will be a community cleanup on September 21st and September 22nd, both days. There will be a large container inside the gate at municipal maintenance, and we hope that teams will pick trash up around their neighborhoods, and you can take it directly to that container. And it doesn't need to be in a blue bag. So we stopped this because of COVID, and it's back, and it's something that really, I can't say it was fun picking up trash, but it was fun picking up trash. And I think a lot of people joined together and did, neighborhood cleanups and stuff. So I'm hoping that the 4 of you will join me. We used to call ourselves the Selectmen Sweepers. So we'll come up with a fancy name or something. Don't look at me like that. But I'm hoping that you will join us. And I want to say thank you very much to the Onset Bay Association, which has really wonderful things that has done all summer long for the community through the Summer of Love concerts and beautification efforts. They've just done a wonderful job. Thank you for supporting our community. And the same thanks go to the Wareham Garden Club members who, rain or shine, they weed, they plant, they mulch, and they make all of our islands in downtown look great. So thank you very much. Okay, appointments, reappointments, and interviews. Is Wanda Savory present? If you are present, Wanda Savory, please raise your hand. Okay. Is Mr. Slavin present? Alan Slavin present? Okay. Would you let him in, please? We're gonna ask him why he wants to be on. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Slavin. We have your application from the Finance Committee rep to the Community Events Committee. Can you speak to your interest, please?
I've been on this committee before as a selectman for 12 years. The Finance Committee has several different places where they actually have membership. This is one which is a non-voting membership, which the committee decided to ask me to do. Simple as that.
Do any of you have any questions of Mr. Slavin? No? No? Then I'll accept a motion.
All right. I move to appoint Alan Slavin as new member to the Finance Committee report with a term to expire June 30th, 2027.
Representative.
Representative.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to appoint Mr. Slavin as the Finance Committee rep to the Community Events Committee. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I will go for a roll call vote. Ms. Corbett? Mr. Bessie?
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Chadwick? And myself, yes, it is so.
Alan, thank you. Love you and miss you.
Not really, but it's all good.
Okay. Is Denise Schultz?
Madam Chairman, please don't forget I'm here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And you
Because
forgot-
you're, yes, I'm sorry.
Let Sherry for comments too.
I forgot you for announcements. So let me go back to, let me ask for your vote. Please.
Aye.
Okay, so that's 500. I apologize. It's because I'm having one of those days. The heat got to me. How's that?
No apology necessary.
Okay. And then
Announcement.
back to announcements, Ms. Quirk?
I have none, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I did mean to tell everyone that the Bylaw Review Committee will be having its first meeting in another couple of weeks. We are coming into town meeting. The deadline for warrant articles is the 16th of September. The warrant will open on the 6th of September. All department heads and community and committees have been notified of those deadlines. Is Ms. Schultz with us? She didn't need to be. Okay. Ms. Schultz stepped back from being a full member of the Conservation Commission and then for personal reasons, and then she served as an associate member, and now she would like to come back as a full member, and that she has the full support of that board. So I would accept a motion.
I move to appoint as new member Denise Schultz with a term to expire June 30th, 2026 to the Conservation Commission.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve her. We do have her resignation as an associate on file. She had to step down before she could be reappointed, so, or appointed up. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I will go for a roll call vote. Ms. Corbett?
Aye.
Mr. Bessie?
Yes.
Ms. Quirk?
Yes.
And Mr. Chadwick? And myself, yes, it is so. Thank you. If Ms. Savory shows up, Mr. Day, if you just would let me know. Thank you. Okay.
Can't do either of those yet.
Can't do that one. Mr. Sullivan, why don't we go to town business, the discussion and the possible vote regarding the right of first refusal, or right of refusal for property off Maple Springs Road? Please.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chairperson. This is, you should have received the correspondence regarding the drinking water protection program. What's happened is there's approximately a little over 75 acres of cranberry bogs that are being sold to the Wareham Fire District. Why? Well, the Wareham Fire District was awarded $350,000 by the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs to assist with the purchase of said bogs to be retired from active cranberry cultivation, so they won't be used anymore. They're directly upgraded of 4 drinking water supply wells. The property will provide an important buffer to an adjacent division of fish and wildlife land, expand production, document habitat of state-listed species. So just knowing this was awarded under the Drinking Water Supply Protection Program. And so what's happening is why this is here, because that was in chapter land, we have the right of first refusal to purchase the property. There's sometimes we've wanted to exercise that. I do not recommend it as this time. This is going to the Wareham Fire District for protection. This is cranberry bogs that will no longer be utilized. Nothing will be able to be developed there, and it's drinking water protection. The other good thing for this is, in speaking with the seller, I reached out to them. This is right by this. If you look at it, it looks like it would flow to the Agawam River. So with our total maximum daily load, or TMDL, for nitrogen, this would be retiring 75 acres of bogs that will not be recreated elsewhere, is a great opportunity to reduce our nitrogen load. So I think this is a win all the way around, and I'd like to see if the board would vote favorably for it.
Thank you. Any questions of Mr. Sullivan? Ms. Quirk, any questions of Mr. Sullivan about the property?
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. No? Obviously, this is something that protects the water, protects the environment, protects all sorts of things that we are striving to take care of in this community. So I will accept a motion, and I believe the motion would be to not exercise our, well, go ahead, try it.
I move to refuse the purchase for the property located off Maple Springs Road in Wareham, being shown as lots A, B, and G, and 1013 on Assessor's Map 116, and being also shown as lots A, B, C, and G on plan entitled Plan of Land Maple Springs 2, North Wareham, Mass., recorded in the Plymouth County SD in Plan Book 59, page 574, and identified in the plan under the provisions of Mass General Law 61A 14.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to pass on. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I will go for a roll call vote. Ms. Corbett?
Aye.
Mr. Bessie?
Yes.
Ms. Quirk?
Aye.
And you, and myself, yes. What is the noise that I keep hearing?
She's in a public place.
Oh, I see.
That is the terribly loud environment in which I find myself. I apologize.
Thank you. Okay, so we do have two hearings, one at approximately 7:15, and I think we could probably let,
Just want to do authorization to sign the bills. Let's get that.
oh yeah, let's do that first. Do the minutes.
Yeah, that's fine. I move to approve the minutes of 8/27/24.
Is there a second to his motion?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the minutes of 8/27/24. Any further discussion on that motion to approve? Hearing none, I will go for a roll call vote. Ms. Corbett?
Aye.
Mr. Bessie?
Yes.
Ms. Quirk?
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Chadwick?
Yes.
And myself, yes, they are approved. Okay, so we have a hearing from Patriot Liquors, DBA Liquors and More, I believe. Michael Patterson, manager. So if you're here for that, the 7:15 hearing, would you please raise your hand? I believe there's an attorney as well as possibly the new manager. We'll get them into the meeting, and then I'll accept a motion to open the hearing, and then we will hear from the petitioners. We will then close the hearing, and then we will make a decision. Okay, thank you so much.
Hi, I just wanted to confirm this is for Liquors and More on 18
I can't see the person. They don't have a camera on? Do you have a camera?
There we go.
I just wanted to confirm this one is for liquors and more.
Yes.
Great. My attorney is also on this meeting. His name is Arthur Perlman.
Arthur
Perfect.
Perlman? Okay, thank you so much. And he is in. So
Great.
as soon as he appears, we will have a motion to open the hearing. Thank you so much. Okay. Mr. Perlman, if you have a camera, could you liven it up, please? Where did Mr. Patel go?
Can you hear me now?
Oh, okay. Yes, thank you so much. Okay. May I have a motion to open the hearing, please, Mr. Chadwick?
I move to open the public hearing. Here we go. I move to open the public hearing at 7:15 for the application for transfer of license, pledge of license, and pledge of stock of existing 15 all-alcohol beverage package store license for the Patriots Spirits, Inc., DBA Liquors and More. Michael J. Patterson, manager, to Liquor Market, Inc., DBA Liquor Market of Wareham.
Chandy.
Chandy Patel, manager under the provisions of Chapter 138 of Mass General Law.
Is there a second to the motion to open the hearing?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to open the hearing. Is there any further discussion on the motion to open the hearing? Hearing none, I will go for a roll call vote. Ms. Corbett?
Aye.
Mr. Bessie?
Yes.
Ms. Quirk?
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Chadwick?
Yes.
And myself, yes, the hearing is open. Gentlemen, if you would identify yourself for the record and tell us what it is that you're looking to do.
If it please the board, can you hear me all right now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. My name is Arthur Perlman. I represent Dave Combati, who's on here with us, as well as Liquor Market 2, Inc. They're seeking a transfer of the package store all alcohol liquor license currently held by Patriot Spirits, Inc. for the premises at 18 Seth F. Toby Road in Wareham. The town of Wareham has accomplished the published notice in the Wareham Week. Mailed notice to abutters is not required for a transfer of a license. Liquor Market 2 is a Massachusetts corporation. Dev is the sole officer, and along with Chandni Patel are the directors of the corporation. Dev, as well as Ketan Sharma and Reenaben Patel, are each 1/3 owners of the corporation. Dev is currently living at 59 Greenside Way in Methuen, Mass. Dev has owned and managed businesses located in Chelmsford, Burlington, and Woburn, Massachusetts, which have liquor licenses. And Chandni Patel has worked in the business located in Chelmsford that has a liquor license. Chandni Patel will be the manager of the business and will spend at least 40 hours a week at the business. The business at 18 Seth F. Toby Road is intended to be open 7 days a week with hours of 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. The layout of the store is as per the floor plan that I submitted with the application. Both Dev and Chandni have already been in the liquor business. They're familiar with the laws relative to the sale of alcohol. Additionally, both Dev and Chandni have completed the TIPS program and have their certification. Dev and Chandni will not only uphold the statutory law, but will also familiarize themselves with any rules and or regulations that the town of Wareham has with regard to the sale of alcohol. I respectfully request that the board approve a transfer of the all-alcoholic liquor license from Patriot Spirits, Inc. to Liquor Market 2, Inc. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Patel, do you choose to address us?
Hi, how are you doing?
Fine, thank you. How about yourself?
Doing all right, thank you. Sorry, excuse me, I was actually traveling, which is why I just pulled over to join the meeting. I did want to share that, we're very eager to do business in the town of Wareham. We own and operate multiple businesses in Woburn, Burlington, Chelmsford, as well as other retail non-liquor related businesses in other cities of Massachusetts. And we're very familiar with the rules and regulations for selling and serving alcohol products. And we plan to make sure that we're all responsible and we adhere to all of the rules and regulations that the town of Wareham has.
Thank you. Any questions from my board members?
No questions. Thank you.
Ms. Quirk, do you have any questions of the applicants?
I do not. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone here who chooses to speak in favor of the application for the transfer? Please raise your hand. Is there anyone here who chooses to speak against the transfer? Please raise your hand.
Judith, do you want me to ask about that, or do you want him to ask about that?
You can ask about it. Okay, we just have one question for you, sir. I think we haven't yet gotten the insurance binder.
Okay. We
Yeah,
can
insurance. Oh,
I think that's the only document that we were missing.
yeah, the insurance, once we in fact have an approval and before we close, we will have insurance. We don't have insurance yet because we don't
Right.
own the store.
Right. So, okay. Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
So
Then-
just with that, then we would just make the approval
Sub-
contingent, subject to
Yeah.
the finalized paperwork.
Yep. I'll accept a motion to close the hearing.
I move to close the public hearing.
Is there a second to the motion to
Second.
close the hearing? Is there any further discussion on the motion to close the hearing? Hearing none, I will go for a roll call vote. Ms. Corbett?
Aye.
Mr. Bessie?
Yes.
Ms. Quirk?
Aye.
And Mr. Chadwick?
Yes.
And myself, yes. The hearing is now closed. I will now accept a motion.
I move for the application for transfer of license, pledge of license, and pledge of stock of existing 15 all alcohol beverage package store license from Patriot Spirits, Inc., DBA Liquors and More. Michael J. Patterson, manager to Liquor Market 2, Inc., DBA Liquor Market of Wareham, Shandy. I'm going to mess it up again,
Patel.
I'm sorry. Patel, Mr. Patel, manager under the provisions of Chapter 138 of Massachusetts General Laws,
Is there a second to the,
with all paperwork being in order.
is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve, subject to receiving that last documentation, sir. Is there any further discussion on the motion to approve? Hearing none, I will go for a roll call vote. Ms. Corbett?
Aye.
Mr. Bessie?
Yes.
Ms. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Chadwick?
Yes.
And myself, yes, it is so. Thank you so much. Nice to meet all of you. Thank you, Mr. Perlman, Mr. Patel, Ms. Patel.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
so much.
And
Very
thank you
much
for choosing to
appreciate
do business in Wareham. We appreciate it.
it. Of course. Thank you. Bye-bye.
We have another hearing, and if you are here for the hearing on DJ Sullivan, transfer of license manager, please raise your hand. I believe there's a Mr. Patel, possibly a Mr. Sullivan, and the attorney was possibly Mr. Porter? Matt Porter? Okay. If you are here for the 7:20 hearing, please raise your hand. All set? Okay. It is 7:20 and a little bit past, so I will accept a motion to open the hearing, please.
I move to open the public hearing for the application of transfer of license, pledge of inventory, and pledge of license of existing 15 annual all alcohol beverage package store license from DJ Sullivan LLC, DBA Sullivan, Wine and Spirits, Joel Sullivan, manager to I'm going to mess up that name, and I apologize ahead of time.
Madhabrakali?
Could you say that for me? I apologize.
Just go ahead. Madhabrakali?
Inc.
Oh,
DBA
that was pretty good. Okay, I got a thumbs up on mine.
Sullivan Liquors, Smith Patel, manager under the provisions of Chapter 138 Massachusetts General Law.
I have the easy part. Second.
Motion made and seconded to open the hearing. Is there any further discussion on opening the hearing? Hearing none, I will go for a roll call vote. Ms. Corbett?
Aye.
Mr. Bessie?
Yes.
Ms.
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Chadwick?
Yes.
And myself, yes. The hearing is now open. Gentlemen, would you identify yourself for the record? And I apologize as well for probably not really doing a good job on pronouncing your name.
Yeah, I really apologize.
Mr. Porter?
Yes, good evening, Board. My name is Matthew Porter. I'm the attorney for Madhabrakali, Inc. And along with me on the Zoom hearing is Smith Patel. Mr. Patel is the president, treasurer, secretary of the corporation, 100% shareholder. He's also the proposed license manager.
Can you explain what it is that you're looking to do,
Yeah,
sir?
I'd be happy to. Yeah, I was just doing the introduction.
Sorry.
So if you'd like me to start with the presentation, I'm happy to do so. So before the board, this is just the transfer of the all alcohol package license for Sullivan Liquors at 260 Marion Road. As I said, Mr. Patel is the 100% shareholder of the proposed applicant. He'd also be the proposed license manager, meaning he'd be the person there overseeing operations 40, 50 plus hours a week, I'm sure. Mr. Patel has experience in the liquor industry. He actually built out and opened a location in West Bridgewater over 2 years ago, which has been a very successful location. And this is giving him an opportunity to move down to the Wareham area and open up a new store. So he's very excited, certainly brings a wealth of experience. They've had no violations at their prior location. He's alcohol tip certified. All employees be required to be alcohol tip certified as well. So it's a fairly straightforward transfer. There's no changes to the operation of the business, no changes to the hours, no changes to the structure of the building. They do plan on doing some interior upgrades, bringing in more inventory and bringing, breathing some new light into the store. But other than that, there's no, major anticipated changes. Rockland Trust is financing the transaction. So there is, in addition to the request for the transfer of the license, a request of the pledge of license and inventory to Rockland Trust as well. So certainly with that, I can answer any of the questions that the board may have, and Mr. Patel can as well.
Thank you. Mr. Patel, do you choose to address the board, sir?
Yeah, first of all, thank you for the opportunity today. And like Matt said, just really excited for the opportunity here. Had, good family business in terms of this industry, and just excited for this opportunity. I'll be working there full time, making sure I have full eyes and hands on the business. And like I said, I think it's just a great opportunity, and I appreciate your time for this.
Thank you. Are there any questions from my board members? No? Is there anyone in the audience who chooses to speak on behalf of the applicant? Please raise your hand. Likewise, if there's anyone in the audience who chooses to object to the transfer of the license, please raise your hand. There are none? Okay. Any other questions? No? Okay. I will accept, do you have any questions of us, either of you gentlemen?
No questions at all. Just the one thing I would ask is when the board moves to vote, that they would vote to just approve the pledge as well. The ABCC has been a little bit finicky about that lately, so I would just ask that that be included in the vote, please.
Say that again, sir.
There is a request for the pledge of license. So I would just ask that the board just include the request for pledge in the vote. The ABCC has been a little bit finicky about that lately.
Okay. That is, all that documentation is actually in this package that we received from you, Mr. Porter, so we will make sure that we address that as well.
Yep, okay.
Okay, did I close the hearing? I'll accept a motion to close the hearing.
I move to close the public hearing.
Is there a second?
I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to close the hearing. Is there any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, I will go for a roll call vote. Ms. Corbett?
Aye.
Mr. Bessie?
Yes.
Ms. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Chadwick?
Yes.
And myself, the hearing is closed. I'll accept a motion now, sir.
I move to approve the application as printed in the agenda as long as paperwork is in order and including the pledge of the license.
Second.
Motion made and seconded as stated. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I will go for a roll call vote. Please, Ms. Corbett?
Aye.
Mr. Bessie?
Yes.
Ms. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Chadwick?
Yes.
And myself, yes, it is so. Thank you so much,
Excellent.
gentlemen. Thank you for choosing to do
Thank you.
business in Wareham.
Appreciate it.
Okay, it is 7:30. Is Mr. Evangelista in the audience? Is there anyone here representing Mr. Evangelista? Please raise your hand. I will accept a motion to open the hearing.
I move to open the hearing for 7:30 PM for the show cause hearing for alleged violations of liquor license, Main Street Deli, DBA Onset Beach Patio and Grill at 182 Onset Ave in Onset.
May I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and
Second.
seconded to open the hearing. It's a show cause hearing. Is there any further discussion on the motion to open the hearing? Hearing none, I will go for a roll call vote. Ms. Corbett?
Aye.
Mr. Bessie?
Yes.
Ms. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Chadwick?
Yes.
And myself, yes. The hearing is now open. I'm going to turn the hearing over to Mr. Bowen. You all have gotten copies of the letter that was sent to Mr. Evangelista. He was actually contacted again today by the office, reminding him that he was to be here in person at 7:30 this evening. Mr. Bowen.
Madam Chairman, I'll start by reading the notice of the hearing.
Please.
Dated August 19th, 2024, to Mr. Frank Evangelista. Dear Mr. Evangelista, in looking at your Facebook page, it appears that you may have been hosting entertainment and possibly serving liquor outside of your permitted hours. I note specifically the following posts. July 31st, 2024, where you are looking to hire both servers and bussers from 8 to 1. August 2nd, 2024, advertising dancing on the 10th from 8 to 1. August 3rd, 2024, where you advertise for dancing from 8 to 1 on the deck. August 4th, 2024, where you state that you had a great night the night before with dancing. August 7th, 2024, where you advertise the dancing on the deck for Saturday the 8th from 8 to 1. August 8th, 2024, where your post reads, "Sorry everyone, but we can no longer have live music and dancing after our allowed times this season, which are from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. We will have to cancel the late night DJ and themed dancing nights till next year. We tried." Some persons, back to the narrative, some persons might conclude that by your own postings, you've admitted operating outside of your permitted hours. Therefore, the Select Board will hold a disciplinary hearing on Tuesday, September 3rd, in room 520 in the Multi-Service Center to consider your postings as they may relate to the following possible violations. Number 1, violation of allowed hours of alcohol service. Your license currently limits you to the hours of 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday and Tuesday, and 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Wednesday through Sunday. 2, violation of the entertainment license by exceeding hours stated on your entertainment license, to wit, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Wednesday, and 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Thursday through Sunday. 3, violation of 204 Code of Mass Regulations 2.05 subsection 2, permitting illegalities and/or disorders on the liquor license premises. You are required to be at this hearing in person, and you may be represented by counsel at your own expense. Please be advised that your license may be subject to disciplinary action, such as warning, modification, suspension, or revocation. Thank you. Judith Whiteside, Chair, Wareham Select Board. And this was transmitted to Mr. Evangelista by first-class mail?
As well as email.
As well as by email?
Yes.
And then staff checked with him today, contacted him today just to remind him that
Yep,
this hearing was going to be going
yes.
forward?
He has been contacted a total of 3 times about this hearing,
Well, just,
including today.
just for the sake of, please, Mr. Evangelista, are you out there in the hall? Apparently not. So,
I have just one note. I
yes.
received a message that the link for the meeting may not be working. That's from somebody who regularly watches the meeting. I'm just letting you know that.
All right.
Judy, it's black, what it is it's blacked out, so you can't click on it, but it still gives the passcode and the meeting link, which is how you can get into it.
Okay.
So, yeah, so it's still accessible.
The agenda, it's listed there, and that's a clickable link.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so it has been properly noted, the meeting has been properly noticed. We are able to entertain anyone live or via Zoom.
Well, Madam Chairman, I'd just point out the provision of the notice letter that says to Mr. Evangelista, you are required to be at this hearing in person, and you may be represented by counsel at your expense. So regardless of whether there are access issues, and it sounds like there aren't.
Thank you.
He was required to be here. So here are your options at this point. Your notice appears to be good. You've made extra efforts to make sure that Mr. Evangelista would be present. He's not in any form. We've had no request for a continuance. We're not aware of any medical emergencies or exigent circumstances. The board certainly can go forward with the hearing, and I can assist you with that process. Or if you choose, you can continue the matter for a couple of weeks, just on the off chance that, you know, God forbid, something happened to Mr. Evangelista on his way to this hearing. It's up to you.
Ladies and gentlemen?
I mean, my thought on it is, I believe we just need to move forward. There was contact made today. There was no acknowledgement of the contact to say, yes, I'll be there, or no, I won't be there. I get what you're saying with the possibility of something could have come up, but I think it's something that I'm one of 5 but I think that we need to move forward with it and take some direction from you, council, as far as what our options are.
Thank you. No. Ms. Quirk, any comments about going
Just
forward?
a question for Mr. Bowen. This seems to me to be in the nature of a possible default situation. Is there any downside to going forward at this point, or any advice that you would provide us as to any difficulties with that approach?
Excellent question by Select Person Quirk. Thank you. Should you decide to go forward as things sit, basically in a default situation, if Mr. Evangelista were subsequent to whatever action, if any, that you might choose to take tonight, Mr. Evangelista came up with a reasonable excuse for his absence, you certainly could put it back on the agenda, make a motion to vacate whatever action you might take, and just start de novo. That way the burden would be on him to actually affirmatively produce some evidence that, you know, there was some exigent circumstance that kept him from being here tonight. We're not aware of that. So this is a case where you can unring the bell if the reasonable excuse is forthcoming.
Does that answer your question, Ms. Quirk?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
So we've given him plenty of time to come forward, and it is quite evident that he loves posting on Facebook. So if he did have an issue about making it tonight, I'm pretty sure he could have Facebooked us, emailed us, texted us, called us, and so on and so forth. My biggest problem is, correct me if I'm wrong, he set these hours, until 10 o'clock at night were his chosen hours. Am I correct on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so he chose these hours. He signed into a contract with the town. Am I correct on that?
In
Mr. Bone?
essence.
Okay.
Yep.
So he's violating the contract that he chose. Now, I believe he could change those times, and all he would have to do is reapply, if I'm guessing that's correct?
Madam Chairman,
Please.
he would have to apply for a modification of both the liquor license and the entertainment license. It would be another hearing, it would come before the board. It would have to be a public hearing because hours affect abutters, so the abutters would be entitled to notice of that kind of change if it was going to be made. But there's a way forward for him if that's the way he wants to go.
And just to add to what Mr. Bowen said, the gentleman did ask after August 1st about amending his licenses and was told it would take at least 2 weeks and possibly 4 to have an amendment of his hours, both for the entertainment and for the liquor license. The gentleman asked and was told.
Okay, so to add on to that, he received this notification, and then pretty much right after the notification went out, he decided to put on Facebook that he's now going to start serving free pizza on Tuesdays, which is great. Awesome, thank you for that. But basically, in my opinion, you're making us look like idiots for your mistakes and not wanting to follow the rules. If it was up to me, this is your third offense, and I'm usually the quiet guy, and I love helping businesses in town, but if you're not going to cooperate and play by the rules, I would just remove your liquor license altogether, at least for a year. That's my opinion on that. I don't know if I'm allowed to do that, but that's what I wanted to state.
Thank you.
That's pretty much it.
Thank you. Ms. Corbett? Anything? No? Mr. Bessie?
I mean, my whole holding on this is, we're talking about right now something from July of this year, but we have previous instances of violations that date all the way back to last year. So this isn't, we're not talking about
2 years.
New, this is new problems, but with the same business. So it's not the first time offense, it's repeated. Even though they might be different offenses, it's repeated violations of either liquor license, entertainment license, whether having it, not having it. So at what point do we as a board have to say enough is enough before we start to set a precedent that if we're going to allow one business to fail multiple times and violate multiple different licenses and whatnot, how can we move forward and hold other businesses accountable if we're setting the standard that this is okay? So that's why I think we need to move forward, have the discussion with council as far as, what we can do, what we can't do, and then have the discussion as a board and then come up with something tonight rather than giving another opportunity to come. But it sounds like even if we do make a decision, he would have the ability to plead his case in some form of appeal or, hey, this happened, here's my proof that this happened, whatever it is. So I think that moving forward is the direction we should, and then what happens after that, would remain to be seen. But I wouldn't hold too much confidence that we would be getting contacted as far as what we might or might not do today.
We do have a list of the dates that we've had conversations with Mr. Evangelista over the past year. He was before us for a violation of the expiration of his seasonal liquor license, and he was cited for that. We didn't take any punitive action at that point, but he did admit to that, and he has a letter in this stack of information here where he admits that the person behind the counter was unaware of the rules. We have the report from the police officer, and we had the police officer here testifying at that hearing that there was in fact liquor being served. He was served a beer. So, Mr. Chadwick, yeah, Mr. Bowen.
Madam Chairman, unless another member wanted to make a comment, I was going to suggest some evidentiary motions so that the record can be perfected. As Select Person Bessie noted, were the board to take a decision that Mr. Evangelista thought was unfair, he would have the right to appeal to the Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission. So part of our job at this point would be to make sure that we have some evidence in our record that shows what it is that the board was relying upon when it takes whatever action it's going to take. So I can suggest some motions to you. And if you think that the motions are acceptable, I'll make a motion, a series of motions, and you can just simply say, so moved, and that will work.
Excellent, thank you. Any other questions, Ms. Quirk? No, any other? All set.
So, but just, we're talking about evidentiary pieces. Are we talking about, we're talking about all of the different posts and things like that that we have in our packet to show certain, okay. Yes, no, I agree.
So with your permission, Madam Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I'll make these motions as if I was a board member and then take it away. I move that the board take administrative notice of its hearing notice to Mr. Evangelista dated August 19th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to, as read into the record. Any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, I will go for a roll call vote. Ms. Corbett?
Aye.
Mr. Bessie?
Yes.
Ms. Quirk?
Aye.
And Mr. Chadwick and myself, yes. 5-0-0, it is so.
Madam Chairman, I move that the board take administrative notice of a series of Facebook posts, which I will identify individually, just for the benefit of any viewers who may be interested in what the board was referring to. I move that the board take administrative notice of the following Facebook posts by the Onset Beach Patio and Grill, July 28th, live music today, 1 to 4. Onset Beach Patio and Grill, July 28th, looking for motivated servers to work nights 8 p.m. to 1 a.m., outdoor venue, weather permitting, drinks only, so tips must be tip certified. July 31st, Onset Beach and Patio Grill, hiring table bussers for nights 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. Facebook post dated
July 31st.
Thank you. July 31st, Onset Beach Patio and Grill, gauging interest for, quote, dancing on the deck, unquote, late nights, 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. We are tinkering with the idea of having a late night dancing on the patio vibe the remaining month and a half of summer. What does the Facebook community think? Themed nights, 70s, 80s, country, reggae, 90s R&B. There were 90 upvotes, by the way. Then August 2nd, onset patio and grill posts. Well, based on the huge positive response, we will have themed dancing Saturdays called Dancing on the Deck. Saturday, August 3rd, 80s night. Saturday, August 10th, country night. Saturday, August 17th, reggae night. Saturday, August 24th, 90s R&B night. We'll have specials all night and a local DJ, Alicia Lopes, spinning all night. Come and dance the night away, 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. Must be 21 and over, must be dressed appropriately, photo ID required. August 3rd, 2024, Onset Beach and Patio Grill Facebook post. You want to dance? Well, we are going to dance. Saturday, August 3rd, 2024, live music 5 to 8 p.m. Then a local live DJ, Alicia Lopes, will be spinning our first themed Dancing on the Deck 80s night, 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. See more. Then a post on August 4th, 2024 on Facebook by Onset Beach Patio and Grill. What an amazing turnout last night. 80s night, Dancing on the Deck was a huge hit. This Saturday will be country night. Come early. We had a line at 8:45 p.m. to get in. There's also a picture of patrons dancing. So
It was actually a video.
It was a
Oh,
video.
it was video, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm not sure what time that was, but then August 6th, 2024, this Saturday, 8/10/24, come dance all night on our deck till 1 a.m. It's country night. Then Facebook post, Onset Beach Patio and Grill. Sorry, everyone, but we can no longer have live music and dancing after our allowed times this season, which are 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. We will have to cancel the late-night DJ and themed dancing nights till next year. We tried. And then finally, we have a letter from the board, which was also posted on Facebook. And then on August 9th, there was an additional post from Onset, Massachusetts. Dancing all night this Saturday. Come down and dance Saturday night, 8/10/24, 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. Country night and after hours live DJ. I had asked if you would take administrative notice of those Facebook posts.
So moved.
Second?
Is there any further discussion on the motion to take administrative notice?
Yes. Just to clarify, so the public knows, he asked for these times originally and was notified August 1st when he came to us for extended hours. It would take possibly 2 weeks.
Maybe 4.
So, what was that, August 7th?
This was August 7th, hand-delivered, and he was told what it would take to amend his...
Possibly 2 weeks.
Yep.
Okay. He was notified and he could change it. But in one of these posts, he pretty much blamed us for his lack of planning. Okay. Just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on the motion to take administrative notice of, as read into the record? Hearing none, I will go for a roll call vote. Ms. Corbett?
Aye.
Mr. Bessie?
Yes.
Ms. Quirk?
Aye and wow.
And Mr. Chadwick?
Yes.
And myself, yes, it is so.
Last one, Madam Chairman. I'd ask the board take administrative notice of the following hours of operation for the liquor license and the entertainment license. And this goes to the comment you just made, Jerry. The liquor license limits the hours of alcohol service from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday and Tuesday, and 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Wednesday through Sunday. And the entertainment license has hour limitations, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Wednesday, and 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Thursday through Sunday.
That was a motion.
Yes, to take administrative notice of those restrictions on the licenses.
So moved.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to take administrative notice of those hours. Is there any further discussion on the motion to take administrative notice? Hearing none, I will go for a roll call vote. Ms. Corbett?
Aye.
Mr. Bessie?
Yes.
Ms. Quirk?
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Chadwick?
Yes.
And myself, yes, thank you.
Madam Chairman, sequentially, what would happen next would be, unless there was going to be some board discussion, move to close the public hearing, and then a motion as to findings, and I can suggest those to you as you might wish.
I move to close the public hearing.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to close the public hearing. Is there any further discussion on the motion to close the hearing? Hearing none, I will go for a roll call vote. Ms. Corbett?
Aye.
Mr. Bessie?
Yes.
Ms. Quirk?
Aye.
And Mr. Chadwick?
Yes.
And myself, aye. The hearing is closed. Thank you, Mr. Bowen.
Madam Chairman, this is where the question of whether there was a violation must be addressed by the board. I'll suggest a couple of motions, which feel free to use or not. I move that the select board find that the evidence shows that the hours of alcohol service were violated.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, I will go for a roll call vote. Ms. Corbett?
Aye.
Mr. Bessie?
Yes.
Ms. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Chadwick?
Yes.
And myself, aye. It is so.
Madam Chairman, I move to find that the entertainment license holder exceeded the hours stated on the entertainment license.
Is that your motion, sir?
Can I add to that? That he chose.
Sure.
So moved.
There's
Second.
a motion made and seconded to make that finding. Is there a second? This motion made and seconded, I'm sorry. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I will go for a roll call vote. Ms. Corbett?
Aye.
Mr. Bessie?
Yes.
Ms. Quirk?
Aye.
And Mr. Chadwick?
Yes.
And myself, it is so. Yes.
Then finally, Madam Chair, brief explanations on a motion. 204 Code of Mass Regulations 2.05 subsection 2 is an ABCC regulation that is something of a catch-all to punish violations that occur on a liquor license premises. So in this case, I move to find that the license holder permitted illegalities on the licensed premises by exceeding the allowed hours of alcohol service and the allowed hours for entertainment.
Is that your motion?
By his choice.
His
So
choice of
moved.
hours, okay.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion on that motion? Hearing
Madam
none-
Chair, I have a question.
Yes.
And this is to Mr. Bowen. Is there any element of this intent that that goes to his knowing violation, or does that count in any way, and does that need to be included?
Well, that, with your permission, Madam
Please.
Chairman. To Select Board Member Quirk, excellent question. I argued that very issue before the appeals court a number of years ago in a case called Rum Runners versus Town of Dennis, in which the question of scienter or guilty knowledge of the license holder was at issue. The license holder was arguing that the violation had to be knowing, and I argued that it was a strict liability offense, and I cited to an earlier case a footnote, and I was greatly amused when I gave the citation to the footnote to the justices, and they pulled the book off the shelf just to see if I was making it up. And one of them grabbed it, looked at the footnote, nodded to the other justice and says, yeah, that's what it says. So to answer your question, scienter, guilty knowledge is not required. It's a strict liability offense.
But may I point out that in one of his Facebook posts, he says that he exceeded his allowed hours in one of the Facebook posts.
Well, quite right, Madam Chairman. And were this case to go off on a protracted appeal, certainly we would argue that he had actual knowledge of the violation, that we wouldn't need to get to the question of scienter. But arguendo, as we lawyers like to say, even if he didn't know about it, which is not the case, actual knowledge is not required. It's just a question whether the violation occurred.
Thank you. Ms. Quirk, are you all set on that now?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion, any other questions on the motion? Hearing none, I will go for a roll call vote. Ms. Corbett?
Aye.
Mr. Bessie?
Yes.
Ms. Quirk?
Aye.
And Mr. Chadwick?
Yes.
And yes, myself, yes, so it is so.
So, Madam Chairman, at this point, I hand the proceedings back to you and the board for determination of what punishment, if any, is appropriate. Just provide the guidance that, notwithstanding my dear friend's comments, the ABCC, which is the reviewing body, prefers to see what's known as progressive discipline rather than going 0 to 60 in punishment. Certainly there are cases where, you know, extreme punishment are warranted. A horrible case from the South Coast years and years ago comes to mind. The Big Dan's case, I mean, that was certainly something that was, you know,
National news.
yeah, national news, horrible, warranted, immediate, drastic punishment. So as you consider what punishment is appropriate, it's a question of gradations, working up the chain. Typically, the look-back period for an offense is typically a couple of years, on the theory that you know, somebody should be learning from their mistakes. For a first offense, which this is not, it usually involves something along the lines of a warning. For a second offense within a 2-year period, the punishment can be anything from a warning to, for an extreme violation, up to 7 days. And then for a third offense, again, within the 2-year period, depending on the nature of the offense, the punishment can be much more severe. It would depend on what the nature of the offense was for me to be able to say how extreme. And then as you consider, if you were inclined to do a suspension, please also keep in mind that not all days are created equal. A Sunday night or a Monday night or a Tuesday closing is gentler than a Friday, Saturday closing. And I just also add that not all months are created equal, especially here. Summer closings are much more of a punishment than a sleepy February couple of days. Now,
There's a seasonal license.
well, yeah, so I guess it wouldn't be a February. Well, April. So just one last thing. In setting a penalty, I remember from my own time on a liquor licensing board, you know, we're always very anxious to get the penalty set and move on. You do have to give them notice of the decision. They are allowed by statute 5 days to take an appeal. And then if there's an appeal, the suspension is deferred. So if you decide to set a penalty date, keep in mind that it's got to be far enough out for them to take an appeal, and that should they take an appeal, that the punishment should be stayed until the completion of the appeal. So that's everything I had to say.
So a question for you. If we were to make a recommendation to take a vote tonight, which is the 3rd, and then we go 5 days, that would make it the 8th. Does tonight count as part of that 5 days? Or,
No.
No. So
No,
tomorrow,
5
when he
days
gets a
in hand.
notice.
In hand.
So he gets a notice tomorrow.
Yeah, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot if you do it that way.
Okay.
You're setting yourself up for some sort of technical failure.
Okay.
It always happens that way.
Right. So what I'm asking for is guidance as we take a vote to make whatever decision we want to make, and he is notified in writing.
I wouldn't set a date that was any closer in time than 2 weeks.
2 weeks? Okay. Go ahead.
All right, so
Because you have to write it and type it.
Yeah, I
Get it?
I got that. I got all in.
So I'm full pro-business in this town. I've met with many, many business owners, and I'm always willing to help, as long as you don't make us look stupid. I'm gonna make a motion, correct me if I'm wrong.
Before you make your motion, because I don't want to mess up, because I'm sure it'll be a good one, but I just wanted to ask a couple of questions before you make a motion, because maybe it'll help you in your motion making. Probably not, but so when we talk about known violations and we talk about progressive discipline, if me not being the attorney aficionado, I'll defer to you. If we're looking at this case and we're going back, let's just say 2 years, if you looked at the history of everything that we've dealt with this business, at what number violation, in your professional opinion, do you think we're sitting at?
That's a good question. It's often the case that a licensed establishment can have a lot of problems and can be extremely annoying to deal with. Of course, I'm not saying that's the case here, but I'm just saying on general experience, that's what tends to happen. When you calculate a penalty and you're applying progressive discipline, and I don't use progressive in the political sense, I just mean, incremental. You're looking at only offenses where the select board actually held a hearing and took a vote to find that there was a violation. Those are the only ones that count. So annoyances, a license holder who thumbs their nose at you, again, not saying that was the case here. None of that counts. It's when you had a hearing and you had a vote and you voted that there was a violation.
And we did.
So this, and correct me if I'm wrong, and you might have this at your fingertips, Ms. Whiteside. This is number 2, the first one being the sale of alcohol after an expiration of the license.
Correct. To a police officer.
And
we had a hearing.
And he was found. Yes, he was found to be. There was one instance where he was found to actually serve it, and then the second time they did not serve. I'm just trying to.
We had a hearing where we believed that there might have been service of alcohol outside. Where it was permitted, and the individual was able to show that
pictures
bottles
of
were
sand
instead of liquor in the bottles. But the first one where he sold the beer to the police officer, we have that in the testimony.
Yes.
In the hearing that we had, and he was found guilty of that transit.
So
Yeah, so that's number one.
So that's one, and this would be technically number 2.
Correct.
Because the other one was found to, although questionable, we had to go with what we
What we
were
saw.
able to see.
Yep.
And make a decision off of that.
Yep.
So, okay, so that just so now that I know, so that after select board member Chadwick makes his motion, I can either confirm or update that motion based on what he might say.
So we're coming into the winter months. Like Mr. Bowen had said earlier, different times, any penalty applied to him this time of year is really not going to make a big difference at all. I'm sick of, we have 10 things here that have come up about this business. I'm sick of hearing it. I mean, there's businesses in town that serve alcohol I've never even seen before us, besides reapplying for the liquor license. Like I said, I don't think anything's going to hurt them this winter. My motion is more or less of something a little bit more of a punishment, and I'm sorry, but I think we need to do it, in my opinion, and hopefully I won't see his name back up here again. So I move to suspend the license for the month of July of 2025, if I'm allowed to say. And that would be my motion.
So
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second the motion with comment.
Thank you.
So I understand what you're saying, but we're suspending technically a license that doesn't exist because he has to renew. So here, my amendment to that motion would be, and I get what you're saying, if we're going to do it, hit it in a month where it would hurt the most. But I think if we talk about days of the week, times, months, they're not all counted equally. If we want to think about it in a sense of with the license that is currently active, I would amend that the suspension of the license, effective from whatever date we determine based off of the recommendation from Attorney Bowen, would be 60 days of current time, in my opinion, would be probably maybe equivalent to a 30-day suspension in the month of July. Probably not, but I think if I try to go 90, it might be a little excessive to what violation we could, but, that's up for, could be up for debate. But I think I would amend that motion to 60 days from, whether it be 2 weeks from tonight, to get all the paperwork in line, give him his opportunity for his 5 days, and get all that paperwork in line. And then that would be, if I was to put a date, let me just, to make it an official motion, I would make a motion to suspend the license of Onset Bay Patio and Grill for 60 days from the date of September 18th, 2024, to go to November, 60 days from that. I mean, we'd have to calculate that out because of the 31 days in October, but 60 days from September 18th to allow for due process of paperwork and his aforementioned right to appeal any decisions that are made.
I'll second that amendment.
You'll agree to that amendment?
Yes.
Okay. I have a question for Mr. Bowen. Okay. When a business comes before us to have an extension of a seasonal license, we have the right to say no. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And this is a seasonal license, so it technically goes dormant at a specific time. A business owner can apply for an extension for a specific time, and then it goes dormant again. Could you explain that, please, for the public?
Actually, I think you explained it pretty well right there.
Okay. So,
Madam Chairman,
yeah.
if I may just,
Yeah.
to touch on something that Ron raised, pardon me,
Yep.
Board Member Bessie. You can, if you want to, schedule punishment to take place in a month after the first of the year, or, into the renewed license. Under Chapter 138, there's an expectation that licenses will be renewed, and so when we consider whether to impose a discipline, and it's especially appropriate in communities where, there's a lot of seasonal related business. It's okay to make the penalty in the subsequent license year, if you want. I mean, really, these are policy decisions for you to decide, but I just wanted to let you know that it's okay to do that if that's something that you want to do.
So, I guess I can see that, but my opinion on the matter is delaying the punishment, to me, whether it be hitting in the hardest month of the year, the hardest, time of the year where the most money could be made, could be I don't want to say a weakness, but I think feeling it now is going to be just as effective as feeling it in July, because my hope is that when we get into where he could have longer hours, if he chooses to request those hours when he applies for his renewal, that this time will give him the opportunity to think, in the future, if I make another mistake, it might not be a suspension, but it could be a revocation, which could have a much more long-term impact on his business. So that's why I think that the time should be now and not in the future, to give him time to, course correct, so that next year he can have, because my goal is not ever to, damage someone's business to the point of no repair, because I do believe that people can change and people can do the right things, but sometimes they need a lesson to be learned. So I think if the lesson can be learned now, in the future, when he comes before us again for a renewal, he won't make the same decisions, or he will make the decisions but having all of the proper documents in place. So that would be my only rebuttal to that, is that in the future, albeit it could be a higher financial hit to the business, I think doing it now will give him the opportunity to think about it now and see that as a board, we are serious about violations of law and policy and contracts that are set when you come and you request them from us, and we grant them mostly on what you are asking for. So that's why I would say now would be the opportunity to make him, understand it, that we're putting our foot down and we're not going to allow it to happen. But that's just...
So a clarification, because there was a motion, there was some talk about amending it. So may I have you restate your motion, or do you have do you want to make a comment first?
I can rescind my motion, and Ron can make the motion, but there's one thing I am going to add. So
you withdraw your...
Withdraw my motion.
Do you withdraw your second?
I withdraw my second, yes.
Whatever it was, yeah. Okay. We'll accept a motion.
So do you want to have further discussion about what you were talking, because they make one motion?
Make the motion
or have
and
him
then
add?
have the
Okay.
discussion.
All right,
Thank
so I make a motion that we suspend the license of Onset Bay Patio and Grill effective September 18th, 2024 for a duration of 60 days.
It's Onset Beach Patio.
Onset Beach Patio and Grill from the date of September 18th for 60 days.
Is there a second to that motion? Motion made and seconded to suspend for 60 days, starting on September 18th, 2024. Discussion.
To be added to...
Ms. Quirk, go ahead.
I have a question for Mr. Bowen. Mr. Bowen, is this 60-day suspension consistent with the idea of progressive discipline?
Your permission, Madam Chairman. That's exactly the sort of question that puts me in a difficult spot when the time comes for me to try to defend the decision, which I suppose is an answer in and of itself. I just want to say this bit first. I tend to be a bit jaded about these things because I've literally dealt with cases that involve murder, mayhem, drug dealing, and all nature of horrible things. I'm happy to say that I never had to deal with any of those cases here. So hooray for Wareham, we're doing good. But I have done those in other fairly lively places. Always for the municipality, I hasten to add. So I tend to be jaded about what is thought to be a serious offense. And so I guess I'm speaking from my personal perspective. If I see blood on the floor, I know I've got a serious offense. If I see a body in the street, and I've seen that in a licensing case in a community just on the other side of the water there, just on the other side of the canal, that gets my attention. That's serious stuff. I think I gave a recitation of what I thought incremental discipline, progressive discipline involves. I can repeat it if you like. You are the guardians of the community's, I don't want to say morality because that's the wrong thing. You're the gate guardians of the community's standards. And it's up to you as the elected representatives to try to set the standard that you think is appropriate for people who are licensed to do business in the community. From my jaded perspective and from my experience in dealing with discipline, yeah, I have very distinct views on what is appropriate for a second violation where there is no body, there is no blood, thank God. But you have a decision that you have to make.
So there's a motion and a second for a 60-day suspension starting on September 18th, 2024. Yep.
The only thing I would like to add is with it to be hand-delivered by a constable. Mr. Bowen approved of that.
Yeah, we do that anyway.
I just want to make sure he gets it.
Any further discussion on the motion? I will go for a roll call vote. Again, the motion is a 60-day suspension starting on September 18th of 2024 to Onset Beach Patio and Grill. There's no further discussion. I will go for a roll call vote. Ms. Corbett, excuse me. Mr. Bessie?
Yes.
Ms. Quirk?
Aye.
Mr. Chadwick?
Yes.
And myself, yes, it is so.
I hope you write it up on Thursday.
Yes, I will, yes, thank you.
Madam Chairman, if I may.
Yes.
Next steps, just for the benefit of the board. Madam Chairman and I will work on a decision honoring Board Member Jared. Honoring Jared's addition, we would serve it in hand if we're able to. If there is an appeal, and maybe there may not be, we'll know quick enough. And if there's an appeal, it might be the appropriate subject for an executive session discussion at that point, under the subject of litigation. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I think we go back to the agenda.
We're on Town Administrator's report.
Yes, please. Thank you. I don't even know where my agenda is.
Mr. Sullivan?
Is he still there?
Sullivan, if you're still there, please let us know. If you're not, that's fine.
There he is.
No, I think after that lively discussions, our heads hurt enough. You don't need to hear from me.
Thank you. Is there, let's see, liaison initiative reports, boards, comments. Ms. Corbett.
I was at the back to school stroll on Saturday, as was board member Chadwick and town administrator Derek Sullivan, and I think it was a pretty good turnout. A lot of cute kids. I think it's a very good effort that the town is doing with that project.
Thank you. Mr. Bessie.
I think I'm full for the night.
Ms. Quirk.
Just a couple of quick things. If the noise in the background irritates you, let me know, and I'll save these for another time. The select board appointed me to be on the South Coast Bikeway Committee. I have reached out and we'll start attending their meetings. There is a charity bike ride on September 8th, 35 miles if you're up for it, and want to get to know the routes, at least part of the route that is being developed. Second, Serpide has asked me to join a regional environmental planning committee, which is a group of regional officials looking at the various environmental issues facing the region and trying to develop a plan to address these multiplying issues. And that's all that I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chadwick?
I'm going to say right now for Don't Trash Wareham, I'm going to say my apologies. I will not be able to make it. It is my 40th birthday bash, which is being thrown by a group of guys that I work with. So I will not be around for that weekend.
Gee.
Ron, you do not need to comment on the fact that you're younger than me.
Sorry. Okay, I have nothing else. We've already done the minutes. Is there anything else to come before this board?
I move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. It is not debatable. We'll go for a roll call vote. Ms. Corbett?
Aye.
Mr. Bessie?
Yes.
Ms. Quirk?
Aye.
And Mr. Chadwick?
Yes.
And myself? Yes, we are adjourned. It is 8:27. Thank you very much, Wareham. Enjoy the wonderful weather.